And welcome back to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It is the 16th day of December 2012. Well, quite some times that we have got where President William Ruto today is going to be having the Devolution Summit. There is a press briefing coming for that, and he's meeting with the governors. So that is this comes to give it the correct term that we have got here is at the 11th National and County Government Coordinating Summit. So that's one meeting that's going to be taking place, part of the new cycle that we are taking a look at. And also from Mombasa, the East Africa Community Interparliamentary Games have been taking place, and they started officially just about 10 days ago. So coming to a close tomorrow evening, and KBC Channel 1 will be celebrating that mix of culture and sport from the region, where the elected people to Parliament have been involved in sports, and this time round they're interacting at a different level, not a legislative but from the real social, like everyone would like to do. And also remember that tonight we've got the CAF Awards across different categories taking place in Marrakesh, Morocco. So we shall know who the best footballers are, young men and women, the best teams when it comes to age grade or senior level for men and women, and also the best coaches, men and women, and the best clubs when it comes to the continent for both men and women, taking place tonight in Marrakesh, Morocco. But right now, we get into our second conversation, and it's always said, this is a sport that nobody plays. Whenever if you're to put it correctly, you're getting into a bout, or they say the next fight. So we're talking about boxing, and it's just a review of boxing in Kenya 2024 and the outlook for 2025. And in studio with me is the head coach of the national boxing team, Musa Benjamin, also serves as the treasurer of the Boxing Federation of Kenya. Musa, good to have you as we close the year. And let's first start with what would be the silver lining for the Boxing Federation of Kenya. Boniface Mugunde winning a gold medal in the light middleweight division at the African Elite Boxing Championships in October. Just give us about that point.
Well, thanks for having me here. First and foremost, I think we need to send our condolences, send our caring thoughts to the family of our All-Africa gold medalist, middleweight gold medalist, Edwin Okongo, who just lost his mother yesterday. So our thoughts and prayers are with him during this very difficult time. Secondly, I think before Mugunde won the Africa title, we had Edwin Okongo winning the All-Africa Games gold medalist after 17 years. So I think that was a huge, huge step, and we really...
Last gold was in Algiers.
Yes.
You have to think, way back in 2007.
Yes, Bilali. So 17 years down the line, we had not won a gold medal. So that was a very, very big milestone, and as a federation, we are very glad to have won that medal. It was really, really crucial for us, for boxing enthusiasts in the country. Remember, we have one huge setback in 2024, failing to qualify for the Olympics. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that was the miss. But looking at these two hits, where where those medals came in, what would you say really worked for them? Let's start with Edwin Okongo.
Well, we had to change our approach. That is technically, I think the more games we've taken part in also contributed a bit to the performance that we've had we had during the All-Africa Games and the Africa Championships. It's just technical matters that we had to change. We tweak a bit and you get the results. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Let's first take a look at, for example, the case of Boniface Mugunde. He was part of the squad that, through collaboration with the State Department for Sport, you were able to travel to Serbia before now going to Senegal for the...
Not Serbia. Before going to Cuba.
Cuba.
Yes.
Cuba, then moving
to Senegal.
To Senegal.
Yes.
For the African quality. So just what were those 10 days in Cuba like, especially for, because I mean, picking up the tricks would work well for some of the young boxers like Boniface.
Well, my wish would have been more days in Cuba. It would have really taken us so many levels up. But for the 10 days that we are there, I think in terms of motivation, training at the biggest gym, the most famous gym, the most famous country in regard to amateur boxing was a big motivation for the guys. And it really prepared us psychologically for what the task that was ahead, that is qualification. But remember, IOC cut or reduced the number of slots for Africa during this last Olympic qualifiers, so it was really tough. We only had 7, that is the gold medalists on the men's side, and then 11. And now
it was what, 7 and 6.
That is now the weight categories. Yes. Then now only those gold medalists for the men's side were qualifying, and then the gold and silver for the women, and then incidentally, in the middleweight category, women division, we go to the finals, but just got to things changed at that last minute, and it was only the gold medalist was qualifying. So Elizabeth and Diego was again not able to qualify. Really set a big setback for us.
And looking at this, BFK now also had been engaged. NOC were also involved in trying to see if you could get the true Olympic, the extra Olympic qualifications.
Yes.
What was it that you learned from the global qualifiers? Because that's where it gets really brutal. Because the numbers now get tighter and tighter. Because IOC were trying to look for a boxing program that's lean and fast for broadcast.
Well, I think first of all, we must thank the National Olympic Committee and the government or the Ministry of Sports for enabling us to go for these qualifiers, where we were going through a transition. So most of our boxers were not at that experienced at that level, at that the big stage. So I think what we need, we have talent, there's a lot of prospect, but we need to have regular international tournaments to be able to compete effectively at such levels. So it was an eye-opener. It's not like we didn't know what was coming. We expected it to be tough. It was not going to be a walk in the park, of course. But with more regular international tournaments, we'll be there again competing with the best.
Looking at the African Championships, for Boniface Mugunde, everyone waiting for 7 years to get that gold medal. So what was the feeling like, and what are the prospects now for him going into 2025 and or even headed to Homa Bay fast?
We were really over the moon. He was really happy for that medal. Remember, he made his debut in 2019. He's been winning bronze medals. We actually almost nicknamed him Bronze. So this gold medal...
Bronze Bomber, that would be an interesting name for him.
Yes. So the gold medal was just came at the right time. He's been very committed in training, very dedicated. So he actually deserved the gold medal. He's a very good boxer who's always willing to learn and change of tactic and listening to the corners as the fight progressed made him get the medal.
I was looking at the African Boxing Confederation website, and one of the things they did in their match report is that it stood out that he was boxing Cuban. How well has he adapted to that style? I mean, it's something that the writer of the article said, with his distinct Cuban boxing style.
We've been trying to get him to box that way because we know his strengths. But when we went to Cuba, I think there was a realization that actually this is what I'm supposed to do. So he's been really working on that, making sure you're at the right distance or fighting range, getting yourself in positions where you can counter without getting hit. And it worked. It has actually made it very simple for him. Unlike before where he would, stand there and be ready for a brawl. When you're not that fast, you're not quick on your feet, it becomes a big problem.
And so that means even, forget what you're sparring in, he's had to do a lot of training about his movements.
Yeah.
Or even because, even what you'd call shadow box a lot to develop that.
Yes, footwork drills, punching at a long distance, and a few times at the middle distance, keeping your range, quick turns, and countering. Those are the things that we really worked on, and we know he's good at that. It's only that he didn't realize himself that that was actually the best style for him. So he kept brawling, and he was very, like I said earlier, very slow. So he would lose fights because of that. But now that he's applying using his range, it actually becomes very easy.
Oh, wow.
Against very tough opponents. He did that against, in the World Championships. He did it against a Moroccan in the Africa Championships, a very good boxer, and emerged the winner. Yes.
Well, there you can see that, when you're going to win against Morocco, who topped the medal standings, having picked up already 10 gold medals from that contest, then we can see the growth. For Elizabeth and Diego and Clinton Macharia with their silver medals, just give us what you have seen as a growth, especially for Macharia, Clinton, because he's in the upper divisions.
Yes. It's super heavy.
Super heavy.
Yes, really great potential. There's a lot of prospect in him. He's committed also in training. That's why he was making his debut in the Africa Championships, and getting to the finals was not a small feat. So I think with time and regular international tournaments, he'll be up there and probably win us more medals in that division. For Elizabeth and Diego, I think it's what we say, there's something to say about wine, eh?
Yeah. Fine wine.
Yes,
wine gets better with age. Matures with age.
Yes. Now the medals are coming in. From the Zone 3, remember she's the Zone 3 champion. Recently she won the Mandela Cup. She's a middleweight champion, beating all the opponents that she'd lost to before. So you could see that growth, that improvement. The confidence is there, more composure as time goes by, and she still has something to give, and medals to give to our country.
Now, the bronze medalists, Amina Martha, Abednego Chalo, Shafi, Bakari, Vincent Ochieng, and Okaka, where are their prospects now?
We are really impressed with the growth of Alois Vincent. He's also a newcomer to the team. Okaka, another one. Remember, he made his debut in the Africa Championships in Cameroon. We have Okaka. We are a bit disappointed with Shafi. We were a bit disappointed with his performance in the last Africa Championships. But
where should he tighten his gloves?
I think it's more upstairs. His problem is not technically or tactical. It is psychological, and we are working on that. We know he had some problems then, but we'll put those behind, and I think he'll come back to where he was very soon.
And so overall, the big lessons learned in how to improve headed into 2025 before I come to matters, about the local scene.
Well, we are actually waiting for the AIBA calendar, but we have rough ideas of the Women's Championship might be the first international fight or competition around March next year. And in April, probably the Men World Championships, but yet to be confirmed. Then after that, after we get an international calendar, that's when we are able now to prepare our calendar, local and the continental calendar. So it's still a work in progress.
Well, Musa Benjamin, who is coach of the head squad, and we're looking at the year 2024 for Kenyan boxing. And now let's take a look at how it's been at the moment. Actually, let's first of all look at the Novices Championship. What's the growth that you've seen with the novices in 2024 as compared to 2023?
I would say Ndoni Mashinani is working. In terms of the participants that we had, the number of participants or entries that we had during the Novices Championships, it was really, really big, boys and girls from different counties, so which is a good thing. So I think there's now a lot of vibrancy in the sport, and so new talents are coming up, and that's where they have to start. So when I look at the numbers that we had during the novices, when I look at the quality that we had, there's some progress. So soon we'll have depth at the national level, because that is what was really, really missing. We didn't have depth. So now that there are so many boys and girls coming in, it's making even the transition easier. For those who are in the seniors in the national team. Now we are getting more boxers stepping into those shoes.
Yeah. From the novices, the next level is intermediate. Okay.
Yes.
Take home from the intermediate and the growth from those who had been contesting in the novices, now intermediate, and who may be knocking on the door of the National League.
Yeah, we have so many boxers. For example, Alois Vincent, Robert Okaka, they just came through the novices, same year, passed the intermediate, and during the Kenya Open, surprised the seasonal champs. So I think there's that motivation, growth, and the federation, I'm glad, has given them that opportunity to prove themselves. And once you prove yourself at the open level, then you'll definitely get your chance to represent this country.
Well, and all of this comes and it's tied down to one thing. It's about the coaching courses for the IBA 1 Star. Just take us through, what the whole coaching ideology is, such that, because I've been a former boxer, now I say maybe I'm qualified by experience, but there's something as a federation you want me to have as a 1 star, and how I graduate to the higher levels.
Well, the Boxing Federation of Kenya realized that there's no growth, or you cannot talk about development when you're talking about the athletes only or the boxers only. Growth has to be for both the boxers, the technical officials, that's the referee and judges and coaches, and the management, which I would thank, among others, the National Olympic Committee for those trainings that they offer that help in administration. Then after that, when you develop all those cadres, you end up having now good boxers. So this was the second, the one we had that about 2 weeks ago. Yes. Is the second time we are having an AIBA certification course in Kenya. We had one in 2021, I think, for coaches, but this time round we had one for referee and judges and coaches as well. We need to have like a philosophy, and once we get proper, good qualified coaches at the Mashinani level, then they'll produce boxers who have a sound foundation. That is where we have a big problem. Hence the need for these courses. We're having boxers at the national level who got their basics wrong. So it becomes very, very difficult to adjust at that level. So we need more trainings for more coaches who will now be producing boxers with very, very sound foundation, boxers who've got very good basics. So when they come to the national level, you only talk about polishing the tactics and advanced technical aspects of the game. So that's the importance of those coaches. At the same time, we need qualified referee and judges who understand the technical and competition rules. So that when we're having our competitions, they are officiated at the level that is required or expected by the International Boxing Association.
And this is where I would like to bring in that the aspect of refereeing and judging in amateur boxing.
Yeah.
You know, it's always said, people think that who is winning, the one who's aggressive
or throwing more punches.
But how would you, for example, because I know scoring is actually, I know the torso, your torso is there, so you can actually
front part.
And the front part.
Yes.
So just give us an idea of where you score.
Well. The target is the front part, in front of the ears, coming down to the
waist.
To the waist, okay? And they all have equal points. There's no difference when in terms of points when I hit your head or when I give you a body shot. So what matters is the punch delivered. Did it land with the knuckle part of the gloves, that is this part, without being blocked, with force behind? That's what makes it a score. So you might see, or fans might see, somebody who's very, very busy throwing lots of punches, but they're not landing on target, maybe hitting my guard. And maybe when they land on target, they've been blocked, so it's partial. There's no force behind. Or maybe when it lands on the open gloves. That's a slap. That's not a point. So the person will hit correctly with the correct part of the gloves and is also aggressive will end up being the winner. So sometimes you'll find people complaining, thinking that the guy who was more aggressive, stepping in, throwing a lot of punches, should have won. Or the guy who's bleeding should lose because he's bleeding. But maybe what caused that bleeding is a wrong or a foul punch. So the punch has to be correct and land on target without getting blocked.
So avoid all action, no motion. A hamster on a wheel, you're just somewhere, not moving. So, and we can see that. And for those of you in Homa Bay, it's good that you pick up that point so that when you see what's happening at the Raila Odinga Stadium this weekend, it's the 5th leg of the Kenya National Boxing League.
5th and final.
It's a 5th and final leg because after that it's the Open.
Yes.
Which would be early next year.
Yes.
From the 4 legs that you've had, Kisumu.
Yes.
Mombasa, Embu, Nanyuki.
Yes.
Nairobi, Poleni. Dondi mashinani.
Yeah. Dondi mashinani.
Dondi mashinani.
Yes.
What's been, number one, the reaction of the fans all around, and 2, the growth of, the boxing teams. I mean, the growth of the boxing institutions. Let's say outside of the established institutions. I'm talking about the defense forces, police, and prisons.
Yes. I think there's been a lot of growth. First and foremost, we must thank our fans. Boxing enthusiasts are now flocking back to the halls where the competitions are being held, which is a good thing. That shows there's a lot of vibrancy now. And there's also growth in the counties. Now we have counties like Vihiga, and you cannot take them lightly. They give their all. We have, that's why I actually go there. They've been participating on all those legs.
Yes.
We have counties like Lamu, who are during the novices championships. You see, boxing has never been in Lamu before. So we are seeing growth in the counties. Now more counties are coming up, so that means the gospel has been spread well. The gospel of boxing, yes.
And looking at it, so coming into this, we already know who the champions are going to be, unassailable. The Kenya Defence Forces, they've participated in all the leagues, but their last outing, the first in Nanyuki, is something a place they would consider home.
Yeah.
The Kenya Police Service was second, that's where they've come in, but also tied with the police service at the Mombasa event.
Yeah.
Then we also have got Nairobi County, they've been in all the legs, so they are joint second. And then you've got Kibra Boxing Club, also just part of Nairobi. But we, one of the most consistent, what we have we're seeing is as consistent, having some form of consistency. Githurai 44 Boxing Club, what is it that, that they're doing? They are not loud, but when they get to the ring, the leather really does speak for itself. Now
that tells you that Nairobi is still the mecca of boxing. Because you look at the teams participating in the league, there's Githurai 44 is one of them that comes from Nairobi. We have Dallas, comes from Nairobi.
Yes.
We have Kibra, coming from Nairobi. Meaning, if we say that we only want counties, then we'll be denying so many boxers a chance to participate in the National League. So that's why we have Nairobi County itself, and then these other clubs from Nairobi still participating there. So we have a very able who is also a former boxer, coaching Githurai 44, Coach Deuri, who is really, really committed in his work and doing a great job. And we appreciate, as federation, we appreciate his efforts. It's not easy. It's not really easy. But they're really, really doing a great work. And so many other clubs in Nairobi that finally make one team. Nairobi is consistent there.
Yes.
At this juncture, let me thank His Excellency the Governor Sakaja, who has really helped us, Nairobi County team, in the last 3 legs, and I'm sure he's also going to do the same in the next one, in getting these boys and girls to participate in the league. So it's sheer resilience, sheer hard work, commitment, and the results, we'll always get the results.
Well, so there you've had it from Musa Benjamin. He is the head coach of the Heat Squad, the national boxing team. And remember, Homa Bay County, they are coming to the Raila Odinga Stadium, right?
Yes.
So it's going to be open air boxing this time round.
Open air.
Open air boxing at the Raila Odinga Stadium, the 5th and final leg of the Kenya National Boxing League.
And it's going to be streamed live for the first time. Yes.
So,
through Boxing Federation UTV channel.
All right.
Yes.
So they're going
That's also going to be a first. Yes.
So let's see that. Show up there and see some of these boxers you only watch in the news. Now you're going to see them live in action. Give them a cheer and make sure that the sport grows. And as Homa Bay County, draw some inspiration for that. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. So that it is. It has been a pleasure being with you this Monday morning on Sports Check. It's also the final edition for the year 2024. Thank you for being with us. On behalf of the team that put this together throughout the year, Asanteni Sana. For you, the viewer, thank you for being with us on Sports Check all year long. Asante Sana. Our sign language interpreter this hour has been Anwar Beshi. Coming up next, Gurunzi Mashinani, followed by Tamrini.